Welcome back to That Handicapping Show. I'm Claire Novak, joined once again by Frank Angst, which means 3-year-old races on the road to the Kentucky Derby. We're going to take a look at the Santa Anita Derby and the Wood Memorial, both $1 million mile and an eighth. 3-year-olds looking for points to get into the Derby field and also hoping to pick up a nice chunk of money in the spring, which is always good to do with a nice 3-year-old. We're excited because there's some great horses in both races. We're going to take a look first at the Santa Anita Derby. And a horse in here, California Chrome, who I'm super happy has actually held some consistent form, made the move to Open Company last time out from his Calbred Stakes and continued to impress. And I couldn't be more thrilled that he's going to be probably the favorite.
He's been a great horse to watch, and it shows up on the past performance lines as well. I mean, he shows that early speed, and that shows up with his early pace numbers, but he's also capable of rating just off the pace. So that makes him a very dangerous type horse. It looks to me like he will have a pace advantage here. If he chooses to run like he did last time and seize the lead, he'll be very difficult to catch. If he chooses to slow it down and somebody else wants to lead, he's already shown he can lay off that just off the pace and make a move from there.
Won the San Felipe last time out, 7 1/4 lengths over Midnight Hawk, who, if you go back to the beginning of the season, we were talking about him like he would actually be good. He hasn't turned out to quite be what we thought he would be, but this horse has, and consistently putting up really good numbers. And the Shermans, of course, old school trainers, the first Derby horse. That would be exciting. Also in here you have Candy Boy, the Robert Lewis winner. And what do you think about him, Frank?
I mean, Candy Boy, you have to like that he's shown steady improvement. And I really like his workout tab since his previous start. He's had a steady diet of works there and put up a very nice workout on March 14th, second of 52 works. So he has a lot of positives for sure as well. I personally think it's going to be a battle between those two. I know Opportunity is a horse you're interested in. But I think California Chrome with that pace advantage, I think that's where I'm going to land in this race.
Yeah, it's really hard to go against California Chrome, and not only from a handicapping standpoint, I tend to handicap because I don't wager as much as you do. I tend to follow storylines and the way horses are running for the purposes of writing about them, and I just would love to see this horse end up in the Derby starting gate, and his past 3 starts, there's nothing you can knock him for. One horse that I am interested in, but I think, again, it's just a little too early for him, Opportunity, ran a fabulous race in the Rebel Stakes. I was there that day. He really dug in that stretch run situation where he had to hold his own, and Mike Smith gave him a great ride. I said it before the Rebel, I'll say it now, he really is inexperienced and green. He kind of has that baby look about him, like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, but I'll do whatever you tell me to. And he just happened to have the talent to get it done. Whether he can beat these kind, I really don't think so, but I would expect him to finish in the top 3.
And it was worth hearing the horse voice from Claire. But I think Opportunity, if he doesn't win here, he gets some valuable experience going into the Derby, some
Absolutely.
connections that are very familiar with winning that race.
Yeah, Mike Pegram, and this horse is a half to executive privilege, multiple Grade 1 winner. Let's move on to New York, and the question that I have for you, Frank, is this hype horse the real deal? Should I drink the Kool-Aid, Frank? What is the deal with this social inclusion?
I mean, just ran 2 impressive races at Gulfstream, and now he ships up north to Aqueduct. But my concern here, and it finally seems like perhaps there's too much speed in this race, finally. But I've been wrong before on this, as the front runners have continued to find a way this prep season for whatever reason. But this time, the new shooters that joined some already established front runners both have early speed in Christo and social inclusion. So I think perhaps maybe this will be just a bit too much early speed.
Well, and like you said, just 2 starts. And my preview, I said, if Sam Rat and Uncle Si kind of looked at him like, what the heck do you think you're doing here, kid? These 2 have been beating up on each other in New York with some really exciting stretch duels, really great performances in the Withers and the Gotham. And here comes this horse he's the morning line favorite, and he's taking so much buzz. If he were to win this race, he's going to go into the Derby as like the most hyped thing ever. And apparently Rontos Racing has turned down huge sums of money for him and all sorts of stuff. I can't get on the bandwagon yet. he's a pioneer of the Nile. Mr. Zayat told me I was wrong. He loves him. Well, he's going to have to run really amazing for me to really jump on that bandwagon.
And he is the type of horse that the game has changed quite a bit just in the last 10 years. I mean, we just saw Constitution win the Florida Derby in his stakes debut, third career start.
Yes.
So this is the type of horse that you do have to consider more than maybe you did a few years ago. It hasn't taken long to change. But for me personally, I think there's too much speed in this too much early speed in this race. Samurai is able to rate.
Yeah.
He could be the horse that could be near the lead and still win it. But the horse that I'm looking at is Wicked Strong.
Okay.
Who chased Constitution the last time. He went gate to wire in that race. We saw what he did when he came back in the Florida Derby. Wicked Strong, to me, still hasn't had the bust-out race that I always expect to see from a 3-year-old at some point. I think it comes here, and he pulls a mild upset.
Alrighty, and I'm going to talk about Kid Cruz, who's a horse who won the private terms. Me going back to my Laurel horses, that didn't turn out so well with Extra Sexy Hipster, but this horse was 10th. He made a huge move coming down the lane, got up to win by 4 in the private terms. Really 6 wide, really big sweeping move, pretty impressive. Numbers wise, he's not super crazy, but I think he's one of the horses that could be picking up the pieces turning for home. I have a really hard time going against Samrat and Uncle Si as well because I've been covering their races. I've been impressed by how they've run. So those are probably going to be my top 3. And I'm excited to see Uncle Si draw outside of Samrat. In the past 2 races, he's either been pinned between horses or pinned between the rail and Samrat. He gets an outside draw here, so hopefully turning for home, if he's going to make his charging run, he'll be on the outside and have a little less intimidation factor to deal with, although he did hold his own really well between horses last time out.
And I also think he's going to have a few more horses that are placed up front early in this race.
All right, well, thanks as always to Brish for the PPs. We wish you guys the best of luck over the weekend. Thanks for watching the Handicapping Show.